Hello, Wolfmined here, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. And finally, after a few weeks of being quiet, the water park is fully complete. And this is going to be the full tour video of Caribbean Cove. Might as well just make a whole tour video while also doing the last video in one whole thing. So yeah, we'll get started here. For those of you who have been watching the build updates, you probably have already seen all of this, but just in case you haven't and you're just watching from the PMC page, well, this is the main entrance area. You got your little bus parking area, parking lots, and then the entryway. I know that the ticket booth, I've sort of realized this ticket booth is way too small for how big this park is, but whatever, it's just a game. Besides, when I first started this, I wasn't expecting it to be this big, but plans always change. So here's the main entrance, kind of like area of the park, and on this side we have a restaurant, which has an interior. It's basically like your average little buffet place. Come get some general food, drinks, stuff like that. You can sit anywhere you like. Up here, this used to be a shop in the beginning, but now it got changed into like an office area, which I know is pretty plain, but there's really no reason to fill in an office area. I'm just lazy that way. And then that's the exit, just in case you didn't know. Right here is the new shop. Since I built this giant building for some reason, I just thought it looked cool and would have fit in, but decided to put the shop in here just because it's bigger. So yeah, you can buy all kinds of stuff in there. We have a towel little place where you can get towels. I probably should have put multiple of those around the park, but whatever. Got a giant water tower just because I thought putting in a giant water tower and also just making a water tower was a cool idea. So that's why there's a water tower. Bathrooms, there are multiple bathrooms all around, you'll notice. And then here comes the first pool I put together, which is basically just a little general pool that you could swim in / go on water slides into. And this one I've had help from all kinds of people during this whole project, like Charles and Dio and a whole bunch of other builders here on the Operation Infinite Ocean server. But mostly these first slides I had some help with, just because I was kind of grasping the idea of how to make slides in Minecraft that were realistic. So these are basic slides that fully work. You just sit in them and go down at your own pace. But you'll see later on that there are Minecart Slides, which are basically tube slides, which if you ever heard of, or if you ever been to a water park or seen one, you would know that there's some slides that you ride in little tubes down. So here's the lazy river, and actually let me fix these chunks, because they're still doing it in 1.7, but whatever. Probably just because I'm moving around so fast. And the game's like, nope, you can't do that. Alright, so here is the next area I built. We're pretty much just going to go in order of how I built it. I built it clockwise in a motion like that. But we have a racer slide which has, I believe, 5 lanes for racing down on. That one works too. These are 2 whirlpool or toilet slides, whatever you want to call them. Bowl slides. These ones are the ones that you can ride down in yourself. I made some for inner tubes that we will also see later on. And next we have some drop slides. Now these are basically what a drop slide is. It's a slide that stops in the air. It doesn't go all the way down to the pool. So pretty much you go down the slide and then you have a big drop. It's kind of fun. But that's that. Right here we have just a little bridge. Just because of the lazy river, the lazy river is way massive, or that's not even a word, but it's way bigger than I expected it to be, so I had to compensate by building this big bridge for the main pathway. But actually I think it was a nice touch. It kind of kept the park from being this whole flat, boring thing. I put in like a little shipwreck decoration there. Then onto the center attraction pretty much in the park, or the center thing you'll see, is a big sandstone castle. It's basically supposed to be like a sand castle, which overlooks the wave pool, which was actually the first pool I built. So it wasn't that pool, it was this pool that I built first. Basically I just wanted to make the funnest thing first, which was the wave pool, just because it's all curvy and kind of a challenge to do. But it turned out good. Then the castle itself, there is a restaurant inside that one of the crew members made, and I kind of just added some chairs around. And then there's a staircase that goes all the way up through the central tower here, and it stops on multiple levels. There's you can come out and look out on these towers, and then there's also 4 slides. Now the two red slides are clones of each other. They mirror each other, so basically they're like a racer slide. And then you got these big speed slides that are also, I guess you could say, a racer slides as well, that come down the middle. And that's not the only speed slide anymore. I recently added a new one just because I needed a little, and like one more little attraction in a corner you'll see later on. But yeah, Lazy River's back here. Well, it's not rendering in, but there's a bathroom right here, which is the same model as all the others. Right here, I have no idea what this really was. This was just me messing around. I guess you could say it's like a water playground or just a playground that parents can drop off their kids and they can run around on. That's pretty much all that is. Alright, on to the cool stuff, which are the minecart or inner tube coasters. So here's the first coaster I made, which none of these slides have names just because I'm lazy. I didn't feel like naming them all. Plus I'm not really good with making up names. But yeah, you put your minecart on, and actually this whole track has no power rails except for the beginning to get the minecart going. But other than that, it's all gravity. So yeah, it does a few little ups and downs, goes down into several turns, and then there's another helix, which isn't rendering in. But yeah, here's the helix. Goes around and comes down. This one is actually based off a real slide that was recently made in, I want to say it's France that it was made in. I don't know which park, but it was one of the France parks that they just made the slide in. So I was like, oh, that looks cool, I'm going to make my own. But it's this one's different colors from that one in real life. Then on to pretty much what was the biggest structure besides the sandcastle, I guess you could say. This one took the longest to make just because there's so much going on. We have, I think, 4 slides all going through here. So we'll start with the biggest one, which is this kind of like a lazy ride. It's pretty much you go on it and you're just cruising down at a slow pace. This one does have power rails just because the cart will eventually slow down. If you ever used minecarts before, you would understand that eventually they'll just slow down, which makes sense. It's realistic. But yeah, this one just takes time doing several little helixes and stuff going over itself before taking this long straightaway and coming down into this pool. Then here is the other whirlpool ride I was talking about, which for the minecarts, which kind of looks weird, I know, with the mine track, but it still works. So basically, you just gotta pretend the mine track's not there, and all will be well. So yeah, this does just basically comes down here, does zigzags, does a helix, and then goes flying into the bowl, drops down through the middle, and comes into the water. And then this, I guess you could say pink or purple, magenta, I guess whatever color you want to call it. But this slide is one of those new kind of slide design that has recently come up. It's like a half-pipe slide, which is over here. It's like that mixed with a conventional tube slide. So basically the minecart or tube will come down and do several zigzags, which yes, it actually goes through all these tracks. Does all the zigzags and then goes down into a slide. And for the ones in real life, they have multiple of these, but I couldn't fit another one. Not that I really wanted to, just because I was already tight on space, since this was the last slide I put in out of all of them. And then here is actually the ride that I never thought I was going to be able to make, which was a half-pipe slide. If you ever seen these, it's basically like a basic half-pipe. The tube comes down, launches down into it, and goes back and forth several times until eventually coming to the stopping point down here. And actually, this actually fully works. And I was surprised that I actually managed to find it out. It was one of the crew members made a slide, which I didn't use, because I ended up taking a slide and just using multiple aspects of it in these 4 slides right here, such as the half-pipe, because he had a half-pipe in it. So I was like, oh, that's a cool idea. I didn't know you could do that. That means I can make my own giant half-pipe ride, and so I did. And it works. Alright, and then over here, I guess, oh, we got all these sitting areas, but right here, this whale, no, I did not make this. This is by one of the old builders that used to be on this server a long time ago. You might know his name, Murrow. I don't know how to pronounce his full Minecraft name, but maybe we just call him Murrow. But he made this sperm whale, I'm guessing is what this is. But he made this, and it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. And since he's never really used it in any builds that I've seen, like, oh, I'll just put it in my park as like a tribute to him. Because he was actually a pretty good builder on the server. Alright, so right here I decided to make another little castle just for decoration purposes. I couldn't think of any rides or buildings to put in here, so I was like, we'll just put this there. Make it look all pretty, not just trees everywhere, which the park is already kind of like that, as you'll see. I'll be putting in random render pictures through this video. I guess we'll start, well, you can see we have this big new area over here, especially if you're, haven't seen, or if you've been watching the build videos, you know all this area right here is brand new. So we'll start with the tower. Well, sorry, these two slides to be exact. Here's the other speed slide I was talking about, which just it's not as tall as the other ones. If not, it's like just about the same. But it's just basically another speed slide that I used to fill in this gap. I was gonna put a big old water coaster in this corner, but it would kind of look weird, and plus it would go over top this big pool I got right here, which wouldn't really look all that great. And then over here I decided to make just a basic slide that was a little faster than the ones I have over on the other side of the park. This one basically just drops at a faster rate. Alright, so I guess we'll just move on to this last island right here. So basically, if you heard, I believe last time I mentioned it, I wanted to make like a shipwreck kind of thing, just like a ride or something that was like a shipwreck. This is what I decided to come up with. I took one of, again, one of his ships, just because his ships are already kind of have like that rusty design on them, because that's just how that's his build style. He likes to make them all rusty and old looking. So I decided to do that, added some vines and trees and stuff like that. And it actually turned out really good. As far for rides, I think there's only two things you can go on in here that I put in. But you come in up here through the middle section from across the bridge right there. But you come in up here, and then you drop down into this slide, which is just a basic little slide that drops you into the pool. And then back here in the back, there's a diving area. So you'll come out through here, and you'll jump down. And actually the water's really deep right here, just because of how far you're jumping. But I thought that was a cool little touch to add on to the back of the ship, considering it was kind of boring back there to begin with. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on for this water park. And I'm not going to go through all the rides because ride all the rides, just because you guys can all do that yourself by downloading and stuff like that. Basically, the only thing that you really need to do is just have minecarts, put them down on the detector rails at the top of the slides, hit the button, and you're good to go. All the rides should be all the slides, sorry, should be fully functional. As for the amount of slides, well, I'll have all that kind of information in the PMC page. If you're willing enough, instead of just watching the video, you can read the description of the PMC post, and I'll probably have like the amount of slides, stuff like that, how big it is. But you can already tell, this is a pretty big water park. But yeah, I'm actually pretty glad with how this turned out. I know that in the beginning I was like, the whole reason I was doing this is just because I haven't seen anyone else build a water park like this to like a realistic scale. So that's what I decided to do, and it turned out nice. So yeah, I'd like to thank you all for watching. If you like this, feel free to check out some of my other builds for those of you who are new to my channel or builds and stuff on PMC. And I'll see you guys in the next video.